Peter Parker, also known as Spider-Man, was eagerly awaiting the arrival of Halloween. He had decided to spend the holiday with his friends Eddie Brock, also known as Venom, and Deacon St. John, a former member of an outlaw motorcycle club. The trio had planned to dress up in symbiote suits as their Halloween costumes and embark on a night of spooky and thrilling adventures. As October's autumn finally arrived, Peter called Eddie and Deacon to let them know it was time to start getting into the Halloween spirit. They all met up at Peter's apartment and began suiting up in their symbiote costumes. The sleek black suits made them look even more intimidating than usual, and they were ready to take on whatever Halloween had in store for them. After grabbing some snacks and putting some chocolate in the fridge for later, the three friends headed out into the night to partake in some trick-or-treating. As they went from house to house collecting candy, they couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement and anticipation for the night ahead. But their Halloween fun was about to take a terrifying turn when they came face to face with SCP-096, a tall, skinny, white humanoid creature known for its terrifying gaze. Deacon St. John, who had never encountered anything like SCP-096 before, couldn't help but feel a sense of fear and unease as he looked into the creature's menacing eyes. "What kind of monster is this that we've come across?" Deacon exclaimed, his voice trembling with fear. But Peter and Eddie were not ones to back down from a challenge. They knew that Halloween was all about facing your fears and embracing the thrill of the unknown. So, they decided to confront SCP-096 head-on and put on a little Halloween horror show of their own. As the three friends stood before the creature, they began to perform a series of spooky and eerie movements, trying to outdo SCP-096 in terms of scariness. Peter used his spider-like agility to perform acrobatic stunts, while Eddie unleashed his powerful symbiote abilities to create terrifying illusions. But it was Deacon who surprised everyone with his courage and determination. He may not have had superpowers like Peter and Eddie, but he had a fearless spirit and an unwavering resolve. He stared down SCP-096 with steely determination, refusing to let fear get the best of him. As the Halloween horror showdown unfolded, the tension in the air grew thicker and more palpable. The sounds of eerie music filled the night, creating an atmosphere of suspense and dread. But Peter, Eddie, and Deacon remained resolute, determined to make this Halloween one to remember. Finally, as the clock struck midnight and Halloween came to a close, SCP-096 let out a blood-curdling screech and vanished into the darkness. The three friends stood breathless and exhilarated, adrenaline rushing through their veins as they realized they had conquered their fears and made Halloween the most terrifying and thrilling night of their lives. As they walked back to Peter's apartment, their hearts still pounding with excitement, they knew that this Halloween would be one they would never forget. And as they peeled off their symbiote costumes and settled in for a night of relaxation and celebration, they couldn't help but feel grateful for the bond of friendship that had brought them together on this unforgettable adventure. Halloween may be over, but the memories of this night would live on forever in their hearts. Words. 580. It was a chilly October evening, and Peter Parker, also known as Spider-Man, was eagerly awaiting the arrival of Halloween. He had invited his friend Eddie Brock, who was also known as Venom, to join him in celebrating the spooky holiday. As they waited, Peter decided to call up another friend, Deacon St. John, from their days gone by, to join in on the festivities. "Hey Deacon, it's Peter. How would you like to join Eddie and me for a Halloween celebration?" Peter asked over the phone. Deacon was thrilled at the invitation. "I'd love to, Peter. I'll be there in a flash," he responded excitedly. As October's autumn arrived, Peter, Eddie, and Deacon all gathered in Peter's room, donning their symbiote suits as Halloween costumes. The three friends were ready to make this Halloween the most memorable one yet. After enjoying some spooky decorations and indulging in some Halloween treats, the trio decided to take their celebration to the streets for some trick-or-treating. They filled their bags with candies and chocolates, laughing and joking as they went from house to house. Once they returned home, Peter suggested they put their chocolate haul in the fridge before heading back out for some more Halloween fun. As they stepped outside, their smiles turned into looks of shock and fear as they came face to face with SCP-096, the tall, skinny, white humanoid creature that has the ability to cause extreme panic and distress in those who see its face. Deacon St. John was the first to speak up, breaking the tension. "What kind of monster is this that we've stumbled upon?" he asked, his voice tinged with unease. Peter, always quick on his feet, replied, "I'm not sure, but it looks like it wants to join in on our Halloween festivities. Maybe we can have a little scary showdown with it." Eddie, always eager for a challenge, stepped forward. "Let's do it. Let's show this creature what we're made of," he said, his eyes gleaming with excitement. The three friends stood in front of SCP-096, their symbiote suits shining in the moonlight. They began to perform a series of frightening poses and gestures, trying to spook the creature. SCP-096 remained stoic, its gaze unwavering as it watched them. As they continued their display, a sense of unease washed over them. They could feel the creature's power growing, the air around them heavy with tension. But they refused to back down, determined to make this Halloween one to remember. Suddenly, SCP-097 let out a bone-chilling roar, its white, featureless face contorted in rage. The three friends knew they were in for a fight, but they were ready to face whatever came their way. With a battle cry, Peter, Eddie, and Deacon leapt into action, using their symbiote powers to combat SCP-096. The creature fought back ferociously, its strength and speed unmatched. But the three friends refused to give up. They fought with everything they had, using their wits and teamwork to outmaneuver the creature. As the battle raged on, the streets echoed with the sound of their struggle, the night alive with the energy of Halloween. In the end, it was their unity and determination that prevailed. Together, they defeated SCP-096, sending it back into the shadows from whence it came. As they stood victorious, breathing heavily and covered in sweat, Peter, Eddie, and Deacon shared a triumphant grin. Halloween had turned out to be more thrilling and terrifying than they could have ever imagined. And as they headed back inside, their hearts still racing from the encounter, they knew that this Halloween would be one they would never forget. It was a night of friendship, courage, and a touch of the supernatural, a night that would forever live on in their memories. Words. 632. As Peter Parker anxiously awaited the arrival of Halloween, he couldn't contain his excitement. He had been planning the perfect costume for weeks and couldn't wait to show it off. Sitting in his room, he checked his phone and saw a message from Eddie Brock, a friend he hadn't seen in a while. Eddie was just as excited for Halloween and suggested they wait until October's autumn chill was in the air to start celebrating. Peter agreed and decided to call up another old friend, Deacon St John, from their days gone by. Deacon was always up for a good time, especially when it involved wearing cool costumes and having fun. The three friends decided to go all out for Halloween and wear symbiote suits as their costumes. Finally, October arrived and the friends wasted no time in putting on their suits and heading out to enjoy the festivities. They went trick-or-treating, collecting candy and treats from the neighbors. After filling their bags with goodies, they decided to head back to Peter's place to stash their loot. As they opened the fridge to put away the chocolates they had collected, they heard a strange noise outside. Curious, they stepped out onto the porch and saw SCP-096 standing there, staring menacingly at them. The tall, skinny white humanoid looked like something out of a nightmare, sending shivers down their spines. Deacon St. John was the first to speak up, his voice filled with disbelief. What kind of monster is this we just suddenly came across? Peter, Eddie, and Deacon knew they had to do something. They couldn't let this creature ruin their Halloween fun. Drawing on their love for scary movies and horror stories, they decided to turn this encounter into a Halloween showdown. They put on their best menacing faces and started to taunt SCP-096, trying to make it back down. The night air was filled with tension as the three friends faced off against the terrifying creature. With each step closer, SCP-096 seemed to grow taller, its white skin glowing in the moonlight. But Peter, Eddie, and Deacon stood their ground, determined to make this Halloween the scariest one yet. As they continued their spooky showdown, a crowd started to gather, drawn by the commotion. The friends could hear whispers and gasps as onlookers watched in awe. Some even started recording the encounter on their phones, eager to capture the Halloween spectacle. Peter, Eddie, and Deacon could feel the adrenaline pumping through their veins as they continued to face off against SCP-096. They used every trick in the book, from jumping out of hiding spots to flashing eerie lights and making ghostly noises. The creature seemed to falter at times, unsure of how to respond to their Halloween theatrics. Finally, after what felt like hours of intense staring and taunting, SCP-096 let out a guttural roar and turned to run away. The crowd erupted in cheers, clapping and cheering for the friends who had bravely faced down the monster. As they watched SCP-096 disappear into the darkness, Peter, Eddie, and Deacon shared a knowing smile. Halloween had turned out to be more thrilling and exciting than they could have ever imagined. They had faced their fears and come out victorious, making memories that would last a lifetime. As they headed back inside, the friends knew that this Halloween would be one they would never forget. They had experienced true terror and excitement, all while celebrating the spooky holiday in style. And as they shared stories and laughs late into the night, they knew that their friendship was stronger than ever, forged in the fires of a Halloween showdown they would never forget. Words. 619. As Peter Parker anxiously awaited the arrival of Halloween, he couldn't contain his excitement. I can't wait for Halloween to show up, it's going to be epic. He exclaimed to his friend Eddie Brock. I have a feeling this year is going to be extra special. Eddie nodded in agreement, grinning from ear to ear. I know, right? I can't wait to see what costumes we come up with this year. Just then, Peter had a brilliant idea. You know what would be even more awesome? Let's invite Deacon St. John from Days Gone to join us for Halloween. He would totally be down for some spooky fun. Eddie's eyes lit up at the suggestion. That's a fantastic idea, Peter. Let's give him a call and see if he's up for it. After a quick phone call, Deacon enthusiastically agreed to join them for Halloween. The three friends excitedly began planning their costumes, brainstorming ideas for the perfect ensemble. And then it hit them, what better way to celebrate Halloween than to dress up as the ultimate trio of symbiotes? As October's autumn arrived, the friends eagerly donned their symbiote suits, ready to take on the night in style. They paraded around the neighborhood, collecting treats and indulging in the Halloween spirit. After a successful round of trick-or-treating, they returned home and decided to put their stash of chocolate in the fridge for safekeeping. But their Halloween night was far from over. As they stepped outside, they were met with a chilling sight. SCP-096, the tall, skinny white humanoid, was standing menacingly in front of them. Deacon St. John couldn't contain his shock. What kind of monster is this that we just stumbled upon? He whispered, his voice quivering with fear. But instead of running away, the friends decided to face their fears and confront SCP-096 head-on. They knew that this encounter would only add to the thrill of Halloween night. With a sense of bravado, they began to perform a mini Halloween horror show, showcasing their best spooky moves to scare off the mysterious creature. The tension in the air was palpable as SCP-096 stood unflinchingly, its gaze fixed on the trio. As the night wore on, the friends continued their eerie showdown with SCP-096, each trying to outdo the other in creating a spine-chilling spectacle. The midnight hour approached, adding an extra layer of suspense to their Halloween adventure. But just when they thought they had conquered their fears, SCP-096 suddenly lunged towards them, its piercing screams echoing through the night. The friends scrambled to defend themselves, their symbiote suits glowing with a fierce intensity. In a heart-stopping moment, Deacon St. John unleashed a powerful attack on SCP-096, sending it reeling back in shock. The friends stood triumphantly, their courage and unity shining through in the face of danger. As the night drew to a close, the friends returned home, exhilarated by their Halloween adventure. They knew that this Halloween would be one to remember, filled with thrills, chills, and a bond that would last a lifetime. And as they settled down for the night, they reflected on the unforgettable experience they had shared and the memories they had created together. Words. 541.